Well, good evening, good afternoon, DCL podcast fans. We are live and talking about some exciting news, I guess, today. And joining me today is Christy down in Florida.
Hello.
And Lake down in Florida as well. And Nova is out looking for Lorcana cards, if anybody knows what that is. So she will hopefully be joining us here soon.
It is a challenge right now, as someone who is also on the Lorcana hype.
Christy has no idea what we're talking about,
I
do
have
you?
zero idea. Like, what genre is this?
It is a Disney-themed trading card game. So think like Pokemon cards, but Disney.
But like Marvel or
No, right
Disney,
now
like
it's
Mickey
strictly
Mouse?
Disney. Yeah.
Oh,
They're actually really cool looking. If you look at some of the drawings and everything on the cards, they're actually super cool. I like the brave little Taylor. The very first one is a pretty cool looking card. So,
They're pretty cool.
and like you were able to get what the one, two, or the three? There's three starter
I
packs.
actually, I've got all the starter packs, and then I've gotten a hold of some packs, so I have a binder of cards. I'm actually going to an event tomorrow to like teach people how to play.
Wow. Well, we are. Not
wait a
gonna-
minute.
Go ahead.
No. Blake, did you go to the pin trading event?
No, I didn't. I wasn't able to get tickets.
Oh.
Yeah, that's okay.
I heard the lines were really long. I don't know why I saw that. I don't know if they're always that long. But look,
They're
Nova's
always
here.
long.
We can bring her
Oh,
in. And then
there
we
we go.
haven't started for real yet. So
We
this
can
is
find out.
exciting. It's like
We got that
hitting-
live, Nova.
hitting Nova in the face.
Oh my gosh! Sorry, I thought I was backstage and safe.
You were
That
until
was
then.
hilarious.
Hi everyone.
We were just
Sorry,
talking.
I'm late. My kid is desperate for these Lorcana cards. And I promised that we would go check.
They were
Um,
teaching me what that means.
Okay, well, basically, it's like Disney's Pokemon.
Yep. That's exactly what I said.
There's really no other way to get excited about it except to say Mason already has some things, by the way.
What?
It's his birthday.
Ah.
Oh,
Not-
happy birthday, Mason.
Not today.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, we don't have to bore people who don't care about trading card games.
Well, shout out to Chris. Chris says aloha to everybody. Excited to rehash this again. Thank you so much, Chris, for jumping on with our Patreons this morning, talking about the treasure release afterwards. Christy, you and Nova had a good time doing that.
Yeah, we did. It was
Yeah,
great.
Chris Kidder's the best. He made
And-
like a spreadsheet during the announcement to help us keep track of the changes.
I do have that spreadsheet in front of me.
Wait
It
a minute,
came so
Steve, are you
quick.
calling in from the La Quinta Inn? What's going
Yes.
on?
This is the beautiful La Quinta Inn here in Old Town Alexandria, Virginia,
Oh, beautiful.
which means next to Coco's or next to Denny's in Spanish, I think is what La Quinta means. So
I just got that.
you just got that one? Okay. That's a very old joke. Diane says, Christy Deegan says hi.
Hi, Deegan. Hi, sweetie. How are you?
Well, thanks for everybody joining us. I know that this has been rehashed a little bit by some other people this morning. I was up at 40,000 feet, and nobody was talking about the Disney Treasure on the way from Portland to DC today. I don't know why, but
You were with the wrong people.
I was with the wrong crowd. But we wanted to do this a little bit later, hopefully, so some of you that were at work or whatnot else when you got home could maybe join us. And we'd love to hear your feedback as we kind of go through. If you guys have any thoughts about what was released today and everything else, throw it in the comments and we'll put it out there. And our panel of experts will
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
that's a bit.
will enlighten you with what was released. But let's just jump into it. So it started off with a video from Arthur Quinn, and I really want to get Nova, yours, and Lake's just overall thoughts of kind of how they did this release with that video. Nova, you have to have some sort of opinion on it.
Okay, well, for those who were not able to watch it, I had to watch it while just basically listening to it because I was driving my kid to school because 11 a.m. is actually not a convenient time on the West Coast, Disney. But the Wish announcement was like 45 minutes, and this announcement was in the exact same style as the Wish, minus, I mean, slightly different, right? Because the Wish had the fairy tale book where they were traveling through the fairy tale book to show you the different things, and this one had a treasure map. where they were traveling through a treasure map to show you the different things. But for all intents and purposes, didn't it give you all like the same vibe as the Wish? Sort of like, I don't know. So that, I would say overall it felt very similar. Like Disney's basically saying, hey, this formula worked for us last time. Though I don't know how I felt about there being a whole storyline. At first I thought that the narrator, no, not the narrator, the guy who we were following around the treasure map, I thought his grandma died because he said that thing about like, my grandma used to always say that. And I was like, oh no, his grandma died. But it turns out, spoiler alert, his grandma was just the one talking to us the whole entire time in a voiceover. So there was like a little story there that I wasn't expecting. I don't know. But overall, I think the format's cool. I will say, I was texting with some friends who don't just do Disney, and they were saying that the Icon of the Seas announcement was much splashier, much more like appropriately scaled to a big announcement than they felt that the Treasures announcement was. So just flagging, some folks were a little underwhelmed.
How about you, Lake?
I pretty much agree with all of that. I do think it was a little underwhelming. Now, granted, there's less to talk about because there's less that's changing from the Wish. Like, there are things that are pretty much just moving from the Wish to the Treasure. That's not, getting rethemes. So there is definitely overall less to talk about. So I guess that makes sense. I do think the video was a little bit slower. And maybe it's just because, the Wish was the first ship we had in many, many years, new class, everything was new. So now it's a little bit of, more of the same with a new twist.
Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't give us more. Like, but they have the answers. They have to know at this stage, right? 13 months before the show, what the other show is. And we'll talk about this in a minute. But why hold back? Like, are they telling us next week? Like,
they want to do a slow leak like they did last time too, like they do with everything. It gives them more things for people to look forward to. Like, what's coming next? What will that show be?
Do we think this is the reason for Saturday? But that's not a real D23 this Saturday. Derry says D23.
Could be. They could have something there to announce. So.
I mean, they will for sure have a parks panel. They always do. It is typically more subdued than like a D23 parks panel. Right. Granted, the last D23 parks panel was hecka subdued too.
Oh my god!
I don't know what you're talking about, Lake. It was one of the most well-received announcements in Disney history.
You don't love hearing about, well, maybe we could possibly do this, but we're not actually, but you're all going to post like it's going to happen for the next 2 years.
I think that you're forgetting they announced a Portos is coming to downtown Disney, and they gave everybody a free pastry. Sorry,
shocked.
Pastry.
Oh man, I love it. All right, well, let's jump into this one. Let's see. There's a lot. Yeah, they didn't announce a lot. In all honesty, I think looking at it, the ship is pretty much the same design. So for those of you who are looking for that running track on deck 4, you're not going to find that. And she's basically the same ship as the Disney Wish, but with some different twists and turns as you go around her. But let's just start off with what they did announce. And Christy's wagging her finger at me as she always does because she wants to make a point.
But there was one slight little change that we noticed in the atrium.
Okay.
And Lake, I am going to kick you off this podcast if you ever drink like that again.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I didn't mute that.
Okay. I just got so I was like, this isn't really happening, is it? Okay, I'm sorry. There's a little lobby bar, it looks like, off of the atrium now. There's there's stools, and it's just the grand hall. It's just in the back. And then another person posted a picture and showed the grand hall, and it looks like a little lobby bar. So that's a slight difference in the layout. Like the slightest of all slights.
Well, that's for the parents that are down there for the princess gathering, so that they have something to do while their little ones stand in line.
I mean, I'm for it.
Chris says they announced Aladdin, but held out the Little Mermaid after the Wish announcement, which is true. And I figured they want to ration out the exciting announcements, especially if they aren't sailing until next December, which is, I think, kind of Disney's genre. So
Yeah, a lot of days between now and then for them to announce the expansion of the Dino District.
we are going to talk about the Dino District 2.0 in just a little bit and get your thoughts. But before we jump into that, let's kind of talk. I missed most of this today, so I just kind of scribbled through a whole bunch of things. But these are some of the bigger ones that I think were announced. We could talk about that, and then I want to get you guys' reactions. But I think maybe the first one, which might be the most exciting, is the Coco-themed restaurant that is going to replace Frozen. I know a lot of people are excited to have that Mexican food, and with the entertainment in the center of the venue, the dining room, I guess. It should be a fun restaurant. Lake, what is your thoughts?
I mean, that is something we were anticipating. I think we got the nail on the head with that one. But, I mean, I'm excited. They definitely knocked it out of the park with the Frozen show. Sans maybe some seating discussions that we were having earlier. But as for, like, the actual show and the production of it, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to see that
heard that,
concept
Steve?
coming back.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. Well, they probably won't have an animatronic this time. It'll just be live actors up there that'll work consistently. So, well, yeah, they have puppets. Puppets work easy. How about you, Nova? I know you've got some thoughts.
We can go back into the archives here because I asked for this restaurant specifically for the Wish, and then when it didn't come on the Wish, but I got my consolation prize, which is Elsa. Elsa is my favorite Disney character. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I think I can say that. Elsa's my favorite Disney character. And so I was thrilled about the Frozen show. However, I still wanted this restaurant. And I still think it's probably a better, like, thematic fit because, you know, Coco is sort of centered around a culture and around, you know, music and food in a way that I think is more fun. I am hoping for like a big finale in some way. I don't know what that will look like. Some sort of like crossing the Marigold Bridge into the afterlife. Like, can they do some cool effect in there? Or can they, because remember, spoiler alert, but we can't say spoiler alert this long after the Wish has been out. But at the end of the Frozen show, Elsa like puts on her little, what are we calling fiber optic magic around the room. They must do something at the end of Coco as well. Maybe they'll have ofrendas all over the restaurant where people are paying homage to their loved ones who have died. So anyway, that's my thought. There's going to be some cool stuff, hopefully some special effects. Mexico is a beautiful country with a beautiful culture, and I think beautiful menus can be made for 2 separate nights. Since this is a 7-night sailing, hopefully they can get 2 nights worth of fun menus out of it. I don't know. I know that typically on these longer sailings, it's only 3 nights where the restaurants have their own menus, and then the other one, it's like the same menu for every restaurant. But I don't know. Mexican food is a pretty good, reliable thing in my book. What do you think, Christy?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like with how specific these restaurants are, it's going to be 2 rotational restaurants, 2 rotational menus for the cruise so that Marvel gets their 2 menus, Coco gets their 2 menus, and 1923 get their 2 menus.
Diane says tequila flights. Hashtag. I mean, exclamation mark.
I mean, on the Wish, the like the specialty drink tasters that they do at the restaurants are pretty sweet. If you haven't had them, they've got some really cool ones. The one at Arendelle, actually, I think is the best one.
Yeah, the one that you and Katie had. I wish Anawake and I would have ordered that after you guys got that. So,
they're totally going to have margaritas at the Coco restaurant, and they'll probably be better than a margarita normally is on Disney Cruise Line. At least we can hope.
I feel like we should have had this chat with me about the drinks before I went on my Wish cruise over the weekend. But okay, carrying on.
Liz says the Ernesto de la Cruz at Disneyland's Halloween party is very cool. I wonder if he will make an appearance at that restaurant. Chris says, I wonder if we'll get a Coco show around Land of the Dead and one of the Santa Cecilia elements, which that would
Yes,
be cool.
this is what I'm saying, Chris. We should go work at Imagineering and help them with this.
And
It better have the Land of the Dead.
Literal armchair Imagineer happening right here.
Brian says, hello again. Coco is super exciting, especially if they do the food well, which I think they could do Mexican food good on a ship, right? Donald's Cantina is amazing. So I know Nova was there every night of the cruise we were on when we were on the Wish. So
Was she?
she's, well,
No.
No. I ate for lunch there a couple of times. I just had it for dinner when I skipped Marvel.
And if you haven't been on the Wish, it is amazing. I'm just going back and forth with Nova and our ongoing Donald theme. All right, let's move on.
Oh, that's what that joke was?
It was a
Definitely.
lame joke. It was a bad
Did
joke.
we all miss that? Okay.
We did. So okay, out is the Bayou Lounge, no longer to be found, and Skipper Society is coming. Blake, what do you think about the Skipper Society Lounge on board where the Bayou is on the Wish?
I'm excited for it. We were hoping for something Adventureland kind of Trader Sam's-esque, and I think that's about as close as we're going to get without getting like an actual Trader Sam's. So I think it's going to be cool. I don't know. The Bayou doesn't always tend to be like the lounge that we've chosen to hang out on our couple cruises we've done. So that's the only thing that makes me a little bit less excited. And there is another lounge we're going to talk about that I am infinitely more excited for. Not to say that, again, I think the theming of this is cool. I really like the like sandstone look of it and the design. I think that's going to be really neat. I do think it all so far very cohesively fits in that adventure theme they're going for sure.
Well, let's not forget that the Bayou. I don't even remember seeing concept art for the Bayou, but maybe they showed in the concept art that it was going to be covered in what are those flowers? Magnolia flowers and like pretty lights. But they did show us concept art for this, and it's going to be covered with the like tarps that are at the top of all
Like a
of
bazaar.
the Jungle Cruise boats, and then there's going to be lanterns hanging down between them. That's beautiful and cool, and weirdly, it sticks to a similar theme for the Bayou restaurant, which is this is the bar. This is the bar where we give like a weird ceiling treatment, just as a special treat. We'll either do flowers or hanging lanterns and canvas, and then on the next ship, who knows? Endless possibilities. Maybe it'll be Lorcana themed.
So we got a couple more comments. Diane says they need to have the same commemorative cups glasses that they have at Trader Sam's, to which Liz says if they have DCL Tiki glasses, my bank account is sunk. And I know that Lake has quite a collection. So
Yeah, right there. Right behind us.
Katie says we found the Bayou pretty crowded most of the time. I think so. We didn't hang out there, grabbed that sweet booth on disembarkation, which they had the live music there a couple times. I think the only time we were there was just that first night from our cruise, what I remember, but I don't think we went back after that to the Bayou. So Derry says, I think they should have a Trader Sam's, but agree. TBH, what's that? What am I missing? But agree Jungle Cruise fits the treasure theme well.
Oh, Trader Sam's instead.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
But
Did you just say what does TBH mean?
Yeah.
Yes, Steve, you just did such a dad thing. I'm so happy about this. It means to be honest.
Oh, okay. All right.
this is the difference between the 40s and the 50s and the 20s and the 30s.
Christy, you knew what it was, right?
I didn't.
Thank you, Amber. Amber came through
Wait.
too.
I did. I was just letting that one slide.
Oh, I can't let it slide. It's
All right.
my
But
way.
now I know what it means, and so I'm fine. But literal, this is the literal like 20s, right? Because are you still in your 20s, Lake?
Yeah, I am.
Oh my God, that's so painful. 30s, 40s.
No, it's not.
50s.
Yeah.
It's painful for us to hear about, but we are us old people at the top are the ones in pain because our bodies just wake up and break.
Derry, your kids are way more cooler than mine, I guess, or you get to talk to them a little bit more via texting or something that you pick up on those. But Diane had this. What is with the waffles? Not sure how they fit in. Any
This is
thoughts
what I
there?
was. I don't get it. They needed a food that you could somehow take and carry away or something like a beignet, and they could charge you $4. But I mean, for real, weird. Am I missing something?
I hope these are the most delicious waffles and we're raving about them in 2 years.
Maybe.
Totally,
I probably
totally
won't be able
over.
to
I hope they
get it.
prove us wrong.
The Skipper Society lounge artwork had people eating beignets too, Chris said. So bring
Huh.
back the beignets. All right, let's move on. Worlds of Marvel was announced to be coming back as one of the restaurants. Kind of a fan favorite for some, indifferent for others. But the one thing that we did find out is it's going to be the same show, maybe to begin with Ant-Man and the Wasp and Spider-Man, but there's a second one coming, which goes to the idea that it's going to be 7-night sailing. So they need to have a second show. Blake, thoughts on Worlds of Marvel at all?
Not super surprising considering there was probably a lot of effort put into getting these characters together to produce the show. And they want to make sure they are getting every cent out of that, essentially. Excited to see what the other show is, though. Otherwise, I don't know. The menu on Worlds of Marvel has just consistently been kind of bland for me. So, not super excited about it. But I hope the second show is cool.
Well, I know Christy's thoughts, and Christy's explained them before, but Nova, any thoughts on World of Marvel?
Rude.
I mean, I didn't want this. It's happening. It's fine. I like World of Marvel. I just don't like Disney to repeat itself. I don't want the same attractions to go into Disney parks. I want all original all the time, and I don't like the ships having the same things in them, except for Dino District. Obviously, that is an outlier, but the use of this particular Marvel IP somewhat makes sense, because if you think about what that restaurant is replacing on the classic ships, it's replacing Animators. Animators has 2 separate shows on the Dream and the Fantasy, right? It has the, draw your character show, and it has Turtle Talk with Crush. So this restaurant is going to have 2 shows. Who knows? I think Chris earlier was saying, wouldn't it be cool if it was like a Spider-Man, like Turtle Talk with Spider-Man?
Where like he flew around or
to each screen and
know.
talk to the table nearby.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's somewhat of a hard sell if you can see the other screens, because in Turtle Talk you can look around and see that Crush is at that table and that table and that table. So they would need a way to like not break the illusion that this character is like coming to your table via a screen. But I mean, the character's mouth never moves. So from a like technology standpoint, it's probably easy enough to hire a couple cast members who sound like teenage boys and who can like go around the restaurant talking to people through the screens. So that's probably a pretty accurate contender for what the second show will be. There's no way they're paying a bunch of actors to get a whole nother storyline going. And I don't think there's a demand for it. Do we really want another Avengers Save the Day dinner? I don't.
Christian says Worlds of Marvel meh, and then Donna says never need to go back to Worlds of Marvel dinner. I've seen it twice, and that was one more than necessary. It isn't repeatable. Will be interesting in seeing the second show once, maybe. Christy.
This is my problem. I don't find it repeatable. And it has nothing to do with the fact that Marvel is not my thing. I found it to be clever. It is like I had to go to it twice and I laughed, right? It was funny, but for me, I will skip that first show. But when you think of paying all of this money for these cruises and you're skipping the main dining room meals because it's a show that's disruptive and isn't repeatable, that is not my favorite. And the food court closes at like 6:00. So, except for one thing, you can get hamburgers and hot dogs after 6:00. And you can't even get pizza? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like maybe the pizza might reopen, but it definitely closes at 6.
It does reopen because Ed, good friend of the show, I met him for pizza late at night one night. So,
but that was also 3 weeks after it opened.
Hmm.
And so I will pay attention because this cruise, I fell asleep so quickly both nights. And like the second night, my kid wasn't even back from the kids club and I was snoring.
yeah.
So
There's always room service too, possible.
well, sure.
But that's not really a good alternative to one of the restaurants. Okay, let's move on. The other restaurant we know coming back is 1923, which I think everybody, for the most part, is a fan favorite there. And then we know that the festival of, what is it, the Mickey and Friends Food Festival is coming back with all the barbecue, Donald's Cantina, and whatnot. Nova, you look got a question. Okay. Just making sure I wasn't saying something wrong. That's all. Let's go into just a couple more things that we know are coming. I'm going to let you touch on this one, Nova. We know that coming to the stage, the main stage, is Beauty and the Beast, which is now currently shown on the Dream. And with the Dream going to Europe, I guess in some ways it makes sense that they put this show on the Treasure because it is a fan favorite show. Any thoughts on Beauty and the Beast? And then what else did they announce? Which is, I guess they didn't announce what is coming.
Okay, so they are bringing Beauty and the Beast to this ship, which, fine. I don't mind that. Honestly, the only disappointment they could have announced for The Wish was bringing Aladdin, and then they did bring Aladdin. So, like that,
At least they're not bringing Aladdin to this ship.
I mean, true, but Aladdin is like
fit.
Aladdin is the theme park show that could. It just appears everywhere. And it was at DCA for like a decade, and then it was on the ships and whatever. Whereas this iteration of Beauty and the Beast is extremely well received. It's only been available on the Dream, and it's based off of the new movie. I say if you're going to bring something to the Treasure, this is a fine thing to bring. They're also bringing Seize the Adventure. I'd be willing to bet money that they'll have new arrangements and different things in it. It'll be like similar, but not the exact same. Though they could prove me wrong and be boring. We'll see. But we do like Seize the Adventure. And then they say there will be a third Broadway-style production. But they call everything a Broadway-style production, so I can't tell, is this going to be like a full narrative story? Like, we're going to pick one movie and then tell that story? Or is it going to be like, you know, Daisy stubbed her toe and Goofy helps her figure out how to feel better?
And some
Through
12-year-old
heroic-
kid
Yeah.
guides them
I
through
don't
the
know what they're
adventure.
going to do with it. But they will do one more, and we've been speculating. My hope is Moana. That is, I'm going to hold out hope that they do like a 45-minute, hour-long, whatever, adaptation of Moana with all the good songs and with, you know, puppetry. I don't know, Tafiti projections. Figure it out. They can do it. I think they can handle it.
Something
And-
along
Go on.
just something along the lines of The Little Mermaid, where it's maybe not the complete story, but kind of an adaptation, like you said, Nova.
And the Moana, it's actually shown in the preview, and it's still being shown in the promo materials for this ship. So on the website for travel agents for Disney, they actually, when they released the schedule of what the itineraries were going to be, in that same post, they showed the promo video that they released quite a while ago that was like 3 minutes long or 2 minutes long, and it still shows Hatbox Ghost, so we've got to still fit that somewhere. And they still showed Moana, like a big picture of Moana, and those were the only things that didn't really have a home from the other things they showed. And it can't be like that Jiminy Cricket bar where they're going to put Moana. That can't be it, right? Like the Hey Hey coffee bar or whatever. It's that can't be what they're referring to for Moana, right? Like,
Well, like,
Could
correct
be
me if I'm wrong, but didn't they say that hyperspace is not going to be on this ship? Hyperspace Lounge?
I don't think it's been officially
Okay.
like defunct, not defunct because it still exists on the Wish.
But that would be a pretty great place for a Haunted Mansion bar.
Yeah, that's still the to be confirmed.
Yeah.
Katie's cracking me up there.
And so I was singing it in my head. She wants adventure in the great white somewhere. Instead,
she-
she gets Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Don't mind my singing.
All right, let's change course here a little bit. They did talk about the rooms that they are going to be what I saw. The room concepts, the rooms look very similar to what was on the Wish. And I think Chris has in here that they're Aladdin, Pocahontas, Up, and Encanto themed. Did they say that? Make that announcement? Okay. Those are the main rooms, the ones not concierge, I guess. And then with concierge, Christy, you can touch on this, but it looks like Lion King, and then the two royal suites are named Bagheera and Raja. Bagheera from the Jungle Book and Raja from Aladdin. And before you touch about concierge, Christy, Blake, the room that you're going to book first is in the funnel.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I did say that the theme that I was most excited for was the most unattainable thing for me, and that is that the funnel suite is Epcot themed, which I love me some good old Epcot.
Yeah,
Did they have
that's
very many
super cool.
pictures from it or concept pictures? No.
Just
Okay.
one.
All right.
There may have been two because the bunk bed kid room may have had a picture, but they did show actually the bunk bed picture for the regular veranda rooms has like the genie at the top. So like where on the Wish the bunk bed picture is like the fireworks or whatever, it's genie is up there now, which is cute.
But it looked basically similar. There's like no outside balcony or anything like that. Kind of the same thing as the Wish.
No, and they showed it. The Shipyard just posted a picture. It wasn't them that posted it. It's that EM. What is that company that does it?
EM Dollar.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's literally the same, like makeup. So there's no space for outside space, which to me, is the thing that I think is missing the most there.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll run through a bunch of these real quick because I'm not sure there's much to say. But they talked about the kids' clubs. It looked pretty much the same as the Wish.
It looked exactly the same.
Yeah, as far as having the Marvel area, the Star Wars area, the edge and the vibe looked the same with the theming around New York and a Parisian loft for the vibe. The Aquamouse is the same, except for they're gonna have a different story, the Curse of the Golden Egg, which I guess you get the adventure themed story along. I'm not sure if there's anything to say about that. Anything, guys, ladies? Jumbo Sweets. Who's Jumbo? He's from. I know Nova's gonna laugh at me too. It's from Zootopia, but instead of it's
like
the
they
sweet
made
shop.
such a big deal about that. Who cares? Is that okay? Fine. Is that a big draw though? Like, yes, please let me go on this cruise and then pay an additional $5 for a ice cream cone.
It's been a long day for Christy, so
Yeah, Christy.
But like they gave us such little information, and
I know
that
you're-
was what they spent so much time on.
Yes, but to be fair, they have done that for all of these ships, right? Starting with replacing the arcade on the Dream and the Fantasy with,
Yeah,
I don't even remember what they
whatever it's
replaced.
called.
Mickey and
One
Minnie's
of them is Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph, Mickey and Minnie's Sweet on You, and then they have the Inside Out on the Wish, and now they have Zootopia, which Zootopia is getting its own land at Shanghai, which is opening really soon, and heavily rumored, likely true, getting its own land at Animal Kingdom. So Zootopia is a big IP. I hear you saying, like, who cares about the sweet shop? I don't want to pay an upcharge, but
It's not even
It's-
that I don't want to pay. I can't even pay. That's not the point. But the point is that they could have given us so much information, but that they tell me I can buy. The bunny
Popsicle.
is going to sell me an ice cream cone.
The buddy's gonna sell it. Yeah.
everyone wants a popsicle.
Oh man. All right, let's move on. Some other things that they too bad Katie's not here because she was pretty excited. She's most excited. I saw all capitals that she would be in the Hey Hey Cafe that is coming to the Disney Treasure, and then also the Jade Cricket Cafe. Both of those are off the main atrium, right, on the Wish. So look for them there, I think.
Yeah, like they're just a smidge back on the upper floors.
Here she comes.
Ladies and gentlemen, my wife.
I'm very excited for the Hey Hey Cafe. Mostly, it's just a really good name. I'm proud of whoever came up with that.
I'm thinking like mugs,
I second.
T-shirts, pins, everything for this.
That can't be the only
it's
Moana.
going to have a bronze statue of Hey Hey, just like
Well, it
Jiminy
is.
Cricket has a bronze statue of Jiminy Cricket. That's going to be the vibe.
I want to see. I want to see like a nice selfie or a nice picture of you by that bronze statue, Katie. Let's see. What else? What else do we know? The Cove Cafe is coming to the back of the ship. The adult area appears to be the same with the infinity pool. You can go on the website, and we'll talk about this, I guess, at the very end. Disney, if you go to the newest ship on Disney Cruise Line's website, they actually have breakdowns of the different decks, and you can take a look at what they've announced, and then Magic, which is still coming. I think that's all that I picked up on. Anything else as far as what they announced today, guys? Before we talk about a couple things that they didn't, maybe.
Steve, I
What did
can't
I miss?
believe that you don't want to talk about the pub.
Ah, the Periscope. That's right.
Come on. It was like the one thing I was like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to talk to Steve about this.
So I haven't seen any of the pictures. I like the idea with the concept of, especially, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and with the submarine and everything else. So I like that idea. I love the fact that they're using the windows and kind of, breaking them into being able to look outside of the Nautilus, even though you're just going to see what's outside the ship. But I like that whole concept of it. So I'm excited for them to rearrange that space.
I loved the, Kagan Compass on the Wish? It's my favorite lounge on the ship, theming wise and just hanging out wise. It's a decent sized space, lots of good drinks when they're in stock, unfortunately. But I am actually pretty hyped for this 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea theme. I think this is going to be really cool. It looks like they are also, like, whatever the ceiling is some sort of like lighting element as well. And I don't know, I think that's one IP that a lot of people would not have expected them to incorporate, and I love that they did.
And I think it goes well with the adventure theme as well. So, I can't wait to get in there and check that out. So, and just see what kind of different like items that they have within that space to kind of take you into that theming. So, we also know that the Rose is coming. They didn't really talk about whether it's Palace Steakhouse or not. I'm assuming that that's probably going to be that, and probably Enchante or some version of Enchante French restaurant up there. But the Rose Bar will be up there. Hook's Barbery will be back with drinks there, along with the Tangled Spa for Tangled. What it is? What am I looking for?
Tangled Salon.
Like, salon
Yeah.
for women, and I think that's kind of the big highlights there. I thought there was a couple things that they didn't really announce, and I know Nova, you've been dying to talk about it. Dino District 2.0 is coming. They definitely leaked that out. What are you hoping that they really improve on in Dino District 2.0?
Well, it's a missed opportunity to bring back the Aqua Mouse instead of retheming that to something dinosaur themed and having the Dino District expand to that area. But I imagine, based on the treasure map that they released, that it will continue to incorporate Trixie Falls, which is cute. And, of course, the best water slide at sea, which is whatever T-Rex is.
Slidosaurus Rex.
Slidosaurus Rex, yes.
How could you forget?
I've heard rumors that Club Dino District is coming back in the stairwell, and that's going to be great. They're going to incorporate blacklight paint this time. It's going to be real nice. Unconfirmed, of course, but it's a missed opportunity not to greatly expand the Dino District, and maybe that third ship that they release next, the Disney Dino, will do much better at covering their bases.
The Disney Dino. when that comes out, just like your Coco Lounge or Coco Restaurant, I am going to be so excited for you. A couple comments here. Donna says, "Got to have good non-IPA beers and enjoy the new theme." Would be cool if they could make the portals magic and show undersea creatures. This is back to the Periscope Lounge. Chris says, I would love to have a giant squid attack the Periscope Lounge and have a Trader Sam show type moment. That would be fun. That would be really cool. I'm also excited to see all of the art that will be across the ship like the Wish has. That's a true statement. I mean, the Wish has a lot of really cool art, and they can have a lot of fun with this.
Like Nova's behind Nova. I did the Making the Wish tour, and not that, whatever, it's Walking the Wish, and we stopped to talk about that painting. And I was like, oh, I love her.
So good.
So I'm looking at my treasure map actually right now, and some of the things
Why do you have
that
that?
you need to follow on social media. I was able to get my agency's treasure map, like it was sent to me for my agency owner. So I have it, and Blake cannot wait to get his hands on it. But I told him he had to wait till at least after the release. But things that are not really disclosed, that there's a little Olaf in like a Frozen section in the upper left part, which could be part of the adults only district, but it's just Olaf is just sitting up there in a mountain. Like, why is Olaf sitting in a mountain? What's going to happen with Olaf in the mountain? And then there's
Olaf
like a
frozen smoothies.
like, really? Do we think they made like a whole mountaintop for him?
I mean, they put Trixie on there, and all she gets is a little waterfall.
That's true. That is true, isn't it? And then there's like a fighter plane, one of those Star Wars planes, on the other, like, first peak of the treasure map. So what's happening with that fighter plane? So Chris just commented Hero Zone theme to Frozen instead of Incredibles, except that in some of the release pictures, was it that you found, Steve, from the website? It's the same Incredible Zone. It's not Frozen themed. And they call it like the Incredible Zone.
The Hero Zone.
Yeah, the Hero Zone. So I think that's going to be the same. Kristen said, more Olaf's frozen margaritas. Maybe.
Don asks, what about the adult pool area? Any news? I think from what we saw, everything pool area wise, whether it's the kids or the adults, looks the same for the most part.
We also have a speculation. Could they be bringing Olaf's Picnic? Correct me if I'm wrong. Olaf's Picnic came with a ukulele, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in that Coco restaurant, they're going to do Miguel teaches you how to play a little guitar, and they're going to be giving that away for $700 a child and $800 per parent. And they're going to totally do that on this ship. So everyone needs to prepare that the ukulele is being replaced by Miguel's little guitar lesson. And it's going to be a great expense for your family.
Okay, some other different things that they didn't touch on: the hyperspace lounge space. Not sure what that is going to be yet. Speculation. So maybe the Haunted Mansion type of bar lounge. Did they come out with anything there, guys? I don't think so. No. We talked about the Dino District. They didn't touch on retail space at all, but that was something. We'll see what if they incorporate something different other than all of the fancy shops that they have there on deck 4 as you come in. Nightingale's Lounge. Do we think that'll come back as Nightingales, or probably something different theme, but kind of a similar space, I guess, where kind of think of that Ooh La La or Pink on the Disney Dream and Fantasy, or Nightingales, kind of like that piano bar and also champagne, that type of stuff. And then they didn't talk about this at all, but
they said that Nightingales was specifically off the lobby and themed to Cinderella, right?
Right. So I think that space will be the same.
Enchantment theme. So what adventure IP also is like, because Nightingale, it's based off of that song, right? Sweet Nightingale. Yeah. So what, I'm trying to think, what would be...
like
A
champagne-y.
That
piano
gives us
bar,
champagne.
Yeah.
Right.
adventure.
Okay. I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna send Nova this little section of the map.
Oh, wait. So Katie from Lakeland says, could
Ooh,
Nightingales be Haunted Mansion? There is music and a piano in that, right?
that's a good
It could be
point.
like the axe murdering wife, you
Yeah.
know, playing the piano with her, you know, that's Disney vibes.
Or they've got the organ there in the main hall in the haunted mansion as well that they could put on with all the spooks dancing around and ghosts. So
That teapot, Nova. Can you see that? What could that teapot be? Could that be a clue?
Alice, it's definitely
Oh.
Alice in Wonderland, but I don't know why that would
So-
what that would have to do.
That could just be the movie theaters again then.
Oh, Wonderland Theater. Do you see any Peter Pan thing though?
The movie theaters are both the same names on
Okay.
the deck plan. So it's Neverland Cinema and Wonderland Cinema.
And the only other thing I can think of is it's directly above the Hey Hey on this map, so maybe it's the second of those coffee bars.
That's the Jade Cricket Cafe above it.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, everyone was like, "Why is there a giant Epcot ball in this
But-
treasure map?" And now we know it's because the
Right.
Tower Suite is themed to Epcot, which I think is pretty cool.
you know, one other thing they didn't talk about was and I can't remember what's the name of the interactive game on the Wish that you go around.
Uncharted Adventure.
Uncharted.
Adventure.
Adventures.
So I could see them doing something similar with the more adventure theme, even though it's an adventure theme on the Wish. Hopefully they tweak it a little bit and change it up a bit for the ship. So
Yeah, I agree.
that's about all I had going through it and looking at some of the different things. Obviously, there'll be more to come as we get closer to the ship launching. You guys want to turn to what they announced as far as booking wise now, or does anybody have
Sure.
something else that they want to talk about with the ship?
Oh, you mean like how to book, when to book, what sailings are going to be?
Yeah.
We should talk about itineraries, right?
Yeah, so let's turn to that then. So they have announced, and Christy as our expert on this, as she's quickly Googling it, they announced the inaugural sailing is going to be December 21st, which is going to be right over Christmas. Yes.
Yeah, Christmas. Like this needs to have more of a. Can you believe of all the weeks to say this is the inaugural? Literally, Santa Claus and dreidels are coming to people's houses, and this is the week that you have your inaugural sailing. To me, that is shocking. I am shocked. If you would have told me that would be the week, the inaugural, I would never have believed you.
Talk
So that
about
is the
cutting
inaugural.
it down to the wire. That technically they're releasing this ship in 2024,
By
but
2 sailings.
but this is really cutting it close.
So after the inaugural sailing, do they have any like holes for like a DVC sailing or something? Which they
One
did?
hole.
Okay.
One hole. It's January like 4th or something like that.
Okay.
So there would be technically 2 sailings, Steve, before the hole.
Right.
which
but-
kind of makes sense
but-
because that gives you Christmas and then you get a New Year's sailing as well.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like these are big sailings. And so it's just
But
like shocking to me.
Christy, we should use Chris Kidder's research to point out that from keel laying to ship
inaugural
release
maiden.
on Maiden on the Wish was like 300 and something days, and from keel laying to the maiden voyage on the Treasure is over 600 days.
I wanted
so-
to say he said like 650 or something like that. 630.
Yeah, so there is a definite padding built in for this
Mhm.
sailing because they are not going to want to have history repeat itself where all these people booked, their biggest fans are booked, and then their trips get canceled. And in this case, it would not just be your maiden voyage gets canceled. It means your Christmas plans
Christmas.
are being canceled.
Merry Christmas, y'all. Here's 50% off.
Everybody's
So-
coming to your house, Christy.
I think Lake would be a much better host. I am not a host. You are well aware of that, all of you guys. But Chris coming in with the good data, the Wish was 462 days. The Treasure is 632 days. That is 100. I love that he did my math for me too. That is 170-day difference. So everything can have more time to get done. And like Nova and I saw on the pre-inaugural, they were literally still screwing things in and doing electrical work when we were all there. And that's not to that discounts. They were laying carpet when they were doing the crossing
They were
with
putting
guests on.
signs. We had to learn to navigate the Wish before there were signs to tell you how to get anywhere. You didn't even know
Like
what
the
deck you
floors.
were on.
Yeah, they were
You had
there.
no idea where you were because no sign on the ship had been installed.
And then they had fake ones at some point during that sailing.
Yeah, sticker
And-
signs that they put
Yeah.
up where the signs would go because everybody was like, am I on deck 5? Am I on deck 8? Who can tell?
You had to like walk around to the elevator to see what deck you were on.
So
So they
I
had-
think 170 days is, as Chris points out, 170 days has to be padding so they don't
Right.
repeat history.
So thanks for doing that, Chris. That's really good to know. Chris, the other Chris down in California. Well, I guess you guys are both in California. Shout out to you as well. Thanks for joining us. Donna says, if I paid such a premium for Christmas sailing and the Carpenters are still there, wow. Well, but to be fair, they wasn't even complete when we sailed on our sailing too. There was still some
No.
stuff done.
That
And I
was
think
only a couple weeks later, though.
I think a lot of people will be happy that they're padding that 170 days because there was some gripes about some of the lights that you and Nova hung in the staterooms, Christy. So
Listen, we did not hang any lights. That was not a part of our experience.
A lot of people critiqued my food because they did have us each take a shift in the kitchen, and my shift didn't go well. But I feel like, that was a rough pandemic-y time. The
Sure.
Wish basically got built over a global pandemic. So, credit where credit's due. I think the Treasure will arrive complete. That is my prediction. And they picked December because they're probably going to do 6 weeks of test and adjust sailings with like random Disney cast members and folks going in and out. They'll have 2 or 3 of those enchanted sailings or adventure sailings like Christy and I got to go on. And it'll probably be ready. That's my prediction. I know I'm giving them more credit than they earned, but I think it'll be ready.
It's
I'm-
easier the second time, too.
Also, a lot of these venues that they stayed the same, there's a good chance that they already have a lot of that stuff in a warehouse from when
Right.
they built the Wish, because they were like, yep, we're going to need 3 of those, and 3 of those, and 3 of those.
good point there.
The real question that Seth asked me is, are they going to decorate for Christmas?
I know. And are they going to do half and half? So are they going? They have to. You can't put people on a cruise over Christmas and not give them,
Yes, but
a
that
gingerbread
means that
tower.
every promo shot they
I know.
ever
Well,
show from the maiden
no.
voyage is going to have a Christmas tree in it?
I think it's going to be half and half. I think it's going to be like the resorts where the thing's going up and then it comes down during the sailing.
They might throw a Christmas tree up in the lobby to be like, yes, you're on a Christmas tree sailing, but I bet they won't commit to full Christmas decorations on a maiden voyage.
I bet they won't, because everyone's got to film their ship tours and do
Yeah.
this and that, and they don't want all that and that.
Well, they will have those sailings ahead of time for
We should fight over it. Let's
for
see
people
who's
to
right.
do it. But I will look forward to the what is it, the Tower of Agrabah gingerbread house that they put in, just like the Wish.
Oh my God.
Before we
They're
before we
gonna
talk about
fix that, right? But
They
go
will.
on.
before we talk about the itineraries real quick, the one place the Treasure will not be going though, Lake, is where?
You're going to have to tell me, because I have not gotten a chance to look
Which
at a lot of the
lighthouse?
itineraries.
Which island?
Lighthouse Point.
Oh, see, I've missed that. I
Okay,
didn't look at
sorry.
any itineraries yet.
I didn't mean to.
Lake worked and he ran and he showered and ate. And that was Lake's schedule.
All right, I didn't mean to
Talked
put
him
you.
on his
I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. Like, but she will not be going to Lighthouse Point. Speculation for that, obviously, is to drive traffic down to Fort Lauderdale. So most, if not all, of the ship's sailings to Lighthouse Point are going to be out of Fort Lauderdale, Christy.
And to drive
Yes.
traffic to the older ship.
There's fantasy sailings that go there too.
Okay, so fantasy still to be determined where she's going to leave, whether she stays in Park Canaveral, I guess, still too. So over or past what they've released. Okay, so fantasy to Lighthouse Point at a Park Canaveral. The treasure will only be going to Castaway Key, at least from what they've released so far. So let's talk about where they're going to go, Christy, or where she's going to go.
I left that screen. Thought we were done with that, but I guess we never talked about it at all. So, but really quick, I think it's really important that Derry did mention that in the Treasure Maiden Voyage, they also didn't call it a maritime cruise, which is an interesting point. But also that, like, is 2 lines long. So I don't know that they wanted to make that title 3 lines. But the maiden voyage is going to Tortola, St. Thomas, and Castaway with 3 days at sea. And then the New Year's Eve cruise and all of the Western Caribbean sailings, which is going to be every other week, is going to the Caymans, Jamaica, and Castaway. Oh, and Cozumel with 2 days at sea. And then there are 2 Eastern itineraries that there's 2 one-off Eastern itineraries that go, the 2 of them go to San Juan instead of St. Thomas. So if you wanted to do that February 1st or March 29th, otherwise the rest of them all go to Tortola and St. Thomas as well with Castaway. Steve is muted.
I would love to do the San Juan one, but those are like just the wrong dates for us, unfortunately. So
that was worth unmuting.
yeah. that was bringing nothing. Yeah, I know. Trina says, speaking of old ships to Lighthouse Point, the Magic does a repositioning from San Juan to Galveston that stops at Lighthouse Point and Castaway in November 2024. If anyone's interested,
cool.
We are going. I like that. We already talked about this. The Maiden is not as tagged as very maritime sailing on the website, at least not as yet. So let's talk about pricing real quick. Obviously, it's kind of all over the board. The inaugural is going to be very expensive. Spring break is going to be very expensive. And but other than that, how does it look, Christy?
Yeah, so that's true. If you can hit low times, you can get a veranda for a family of 4 for $7,900 basically, which these are the starting prices. So you're going to have probably a little bit higher of a cost because more than likely you're not taking one of those. Well, some people are, but the Navigator verandas and things like that. But so in the off season, but if you're trying to go on the inaugural or the New Year's Eve cruise is just a couple $1,000s less. I mean, your prices are $17,000 starting for the veranda for the family of 4, and concierge starts at $35,000. So
that's not even the funnel suite or anything like that.
That's the
just a
starting
thing.
Concierge price.
Yeah.
Starting, and they will sell out, and that will sell out probably before. And the Maiden is non-transferable and non-refundable. So the deposit is like you're committing to going, or you lose your money.
Yes, because they are trying to make up the cost of this ship in one sailing. That is what's happening here.
They are winning.
$35,000
So
room. Christy.
Katie, wait, what? What is happening? Nova, what are you saying? So we're laughing because Katie is saying for their anniversary they should stay in the Epcot Tower.
Oh, I mean, Lake actually has that planned.
Yeah.
I'm trying to baffle how my wife, the one who's the budget person of us, is trying to make this happen.
I'm guessing she's not really making it happen, but concierge for that
Well,
starts
no,
at
but
$22,200 starting. $22,000. So I will say though, because you know me, I'm a girl that likes a good concierge on occasion. There are some weeks that you can go for $15,500 for your family of 4, which to me seems like not the very worst price. So pricing goes all the way until May 31st. And what am I missing, Steve? Why are you guys still laughing?
No, that's about it. So Donna says, from a concierge snob, nope, I think I'll wait a few months to let them get the kinks worked out, which is a good point for probably for a lot of different aspects with the sailings. Pack your patience for the first couple of sailings because as the crew gets used to the ship and everything else. But I think, we've talked about this before. The Wish, maybe not this is nothing against anybody who sails concierge or the concierge product on the Wish, just that, on a 3 or 4 night sailing, you really don't get the advantage of being on a 7 night where you'd be able to use the lounge longer. So that's all I was going to say. So Treasure seems like it might be a better concierge experience going forward.
And they have like the hot meals. So like a night, for example, that I don't want to go to Marvel, I don't also have to eat my dinner and eat it before 6. Like, even for me, Steve, that's a little early of having to like go pick up my dinner before it closes at 6. So I can have concierge make me hot food in the lounge.
So two couple more things here. Katie is asking her travel agent that so she can start selling stuff. I believe Lake's car is already on eBay if anybody, or Facebook Marketplace if anybody wants to jump on there. And
She's
make
for sale.
Like just opening packs of Lorcana, hoping to get the Elsa Enchanted card to sell to go on that sailing.
That still would not nearly cover what we need. Be a start, though.
Chris asked speculation for the fantasies itineraries in 2025. I'm not sure that we really have any of that yet as to what the fantasy will be doing in 2025.
The
Sailing.
home porting in California year round.
Good shot. Good chance of that there, possibly. Let's finish up by talking about when bookings open up for Pearl Castaway Club members.
Yeah.
What color is Pearl, Nova?
Pink. Listen.
What do you have against pink?
Here's what I have against it. Why? Pink? Pearl? I just feel like...
How are they going to have like an iridescent color?
Oh, I don't know. The 50th anniversary.
I'm going to say, didn't they just have an iridescent color for a year and a half?
That is their signature color for the past...
But on paper?
months.
How would that work on paper?
Just give it a gradient. Make it iridescent, 2-dimensional. I'm just saying, if they...
I like pink.
Yeah, okay, fine. Pink is not a bad color. I'm just a little confused.
Chris is saying rose gold. And yes, I want a rose gold wall. I'm still going to have it one day. So I'm happy with it. Anyway, September 12th is when you can start booking online or by phone if you are Pearl. So you've sailed more than 25 times. So you've sailed the 25 times. Your 25th cruise is finished. Then you can be at Pearl, right? I think I'm right about that. Platinum is you've sailed more than 10 cruises, and that starts the next day on the 13th. And then gold is the 14th, and that's after you've sailed 5 times. Silver is always going to be the busiest day. People need to think about, and let me just say the date. That's the 19th. And then everybody else can start booking on the 20th. So the 19th is into the next week as something to remember. If you have an onboard booking, remember it's never going to work for the maiden. It's not going to work for the popular spring break weeks. And Disney hadn't, as of this afternoon, released that yet. And Derry always has the good info. So maybe she'll tell us if it has been released. And it's not going to work for the New Year's Eve cruise. And if you have an onboard booking, something to consider is you have to wait until 8:00 to call in. And then you have to sit on hold unless you have the really good calling capabilities and can get through right away. So just keep that in mind that you may want to decide, does it make sense if I'm Silver to use my onboard booking? Because it will be potentially an hour or more before your cruise gets booked, and prices go up as more gets booked. So it's just something to consider. It's not a huge release. So... I guess it's a whole season, but it's to me, it's a tough season, right? Because kids are in school. So there's going to be weeks that are just going to be more popular, which are priced as such on, with the bookings. So.
Was there anything that stood out about the Wish bookings that people should be prepared for? I don't think it's, nothing's coming to my mind. Just, I thought I'd throw that question out.
No, but just in general, something to remember that I think people just forget. If you're booking online yourself, you will log into your own Castaway Club like thing on Disney Cruise Line account and be able to book. So once you've logged on to Disney Cruise Line, if you're booking with a travel agent, you have to make sure you send them your date of birth if they don't already have it and your Castaway Club number, because that's how they're going to log in to do your booking for you. So just make sure that information gets to them before the time. And then I don't think with the Wish there were really any issues. They sectioned off Platinum 8 million times, and I don't see it being an issue. So Chris is asking, how many rooms can you book at once? And I think this is a serious question because, like, if you had a connecting cabin, typically on release days, you can only book for as many, like you can book for your family. You can't do the 2 connecting cabins at one time. So until general booking opens. So does that make sense? So like there's a spot on Disney Cruises website where you can book one cabin and you can add a second cabin. And in this case, they don't typically allow that on the first day. So you can only book your own cabin as a Castaway Club member for yourself. And then you'd have to go in individually and get the second booking for the second cabin.
Gotcha. Well, I think that's going to finish this up tonight. You guys have been busy. Christy, Nova, thanks for doing 2 shows today. And Lake was busy at work, as was I guess. Keeping the economy going, keeping the money going so that people can make money, I guess, and so you go on these cruises. To finish up, though, I think some of the stuff's new coming, but a lot the same as the Wish. But let's keep it on a positive note, which not that we're on a negative whatsoever, just having a good time going back and forth on our different thoughts on it. But on this ship, I'll start off with myself. Where are we going to find ourselves on this ship? And I'm going to go with what Lake said. I'll be in the Periscope Lounge, hoping that there's like some kind of interaction with the squid that Chris has talked about that's coming down to attack us as we're drinking our beers and enjoying the food. So Christy, where are we going to find you?
It's going to be Christy and the Concierge. I think that's my new name. Listen, the Wish is Concierge, and I've got my 2 little Wish cruises that I'm doing. I did one this last weekend. I have one coming up. I can sail in a regular cabin, right, on the Wish. I'm just in regular. But that lounge is something to, like, budget for, in my family's opinion, and, like, goals and a happy place for us. And I see myself taking a cruise in their Concierge.
I love it. How about you, Lake?
Periscope Pub. Periscope Pub.
Maybe I'll walk in there.
We'll be roasting some good beers together up there in the Periscope Pub. And Nova, where are we going to find you?
The Dino District. I don't. Why are we even?
Why is that a question?
I'm obviously going to be in Trixie Falls and Slidosaurus Rex in the tower the whole time.
Okay, beyond the Dino District, give us one other one.
Okay, fine. I'm going to be in the theater watching the Broadway-style unannounced show of Moana.
My second guess for you is Coco.
Is the Coco restaurant. Of anything they announce, let's be real. Maybe we all disagree. The real question I think you're asking, Steve, is what is the most exciting thing for you that was announced? The Coco restaurant is hands down the most exciting thing they announced. It's like the new thing. It has a ton of possibilities. And who doesn't like Mexican food?
And the music was fun too in the video that they had. So
oh my gosh, yeah. And the puppets, they have this thing at California Adventure called Plaza de Familia, which is like a Coco celebration they do every year during like Day of the Dead season. And it's so cool. They have these puppets, they have mariachi bands, they have folklorico. It's like amazing. I love it. But during Oogie Boogie Bash, they also have this really creepy Ernesto de la Cruz ghost effect. Just all of it is so cool that I can't wait for them to bring that onto the ship. And that's my actual vote for the most exciting thing they announced.
I love it. Well, Jerry says she's going to be at Christy and Nova's cocktail party in the suite.
My cabin will not be big enough to be having space for a cocktail party. But maybe I'll win one of these lottos, and then the Patreons can take over the whole upper floor or the whole suite deck, which is definitely something I've thought of before. So if I win the lotto, make sure you're a Patreon, because that I feel like is going to happen sometime.
Well, as we get out of here, then, any final thoughts about this ship or this release? There's a lot to come, as we've noted, but any final thoughts, you guys? Anybody want to talk about it? Novi had a good final closure there with Coco. Blake,
I think
Christy.
I'm excited. I think the adventure theme and the IPs that we're seeing definitely appeal to me more than the Wish. Not that I dislike the Wish by any means, but I think there's some upgrades here.
I totally agree. See, when I first saw Captain Mini, first officer Mini, Captain Mini, I get her confused sometimes. Captain Mini with that periscope and that outfit, I was like, oh my gosh, this ship is going to be for me. So.
Nova, do we just kick Steve off right now? Like, do we remove him? I think I still have powers. I can.
You can
remove
me.
You can joke about Donald, but you cannot joke about our captain.
I can't wait to buy the plush. I am totally buying the mini plush with her sporting her adventure outfit.
Yeah, I love it. Well, as we finish up, if anybody wants to book with Christy, how can they get a hold of you?
Find me online at Peck Your Pixie Dust on all social media. Reach out. Make sure, get me your stuff. I'd like to talk to you about it in advance so that we're ready the week it goes live, and I'll be up early. I make Dave get up early with me on those days too, so that we can get everybody booked.
And if you're going on the inaugural cruise and booking the inaugural cruise and don't have somebody to go with, you can find myself, Steve, Lake, and Nova's information in the show notes. Reach out to us. We'd be happy to sail with you. So with that, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Exciting release date for the Disney Treasure, and a lot more information to come out on her. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Struggling?